Hey guys, so in this video we're going to begin wrapping up the series. There's only 2 more videos left. In this video I'm going to go over functions, and in the next video we're going to go over loops. So let me get rid of all of this and let's begin working on functions. So what are functions? Functions are collections of code that we can run at a later stage. Now, I know this is not really that good of an explanation, so I'm just going to show it to you first and then we can go over it. So to create a function, I'm going to type the keyword function here. And then we need to give our function a name. So I'm just going to call this my_func. And let's give this brackets here. So these are your normal brackets. And right now we don't need to put anything inside of these brackets. I'll show you how they work soon. And next to that we need to use these curly braces. So the same way we did in CSS, we use these curly braces here. And inside of our function we can write some code. So for example here I'm going to do console.log, and in here I'm going to just print out a random thing here. So with this, we're going to log out something random to the console here. If I inspect and go to the console, we're not going to see anything. And what this is actually doing is it's not running this code in here. So when we have a function, we're creating a function with code inside of it that can be called later on in our code. So basically we're storing a set of instructions, and then somewhere later down in our code we can call it, for example, myfunc, and we need to use the brackets again here. We can't, if we want to run a function, we can't just have the name here. We need to include those brackets, which means we're running it. And now we can see that it does print out the string we have here. Okay, so now let's go through this and see what it actually does. So this keyword function here creates a function. And the next option here we're passing in is the name of our function. So we're just calling it myfunc. You can think of the name of a function the same way you think of a variable name. It's just a name so that we can reference it later on. And yeah, these brackets here, they are where we accept parameters. So I'm going to show you what a parameter looks like now. I'm going to say name here. And instead of printing out this thing here, we're going to print out the name. And what this is actually doing is it's taking a variable as a parameter, and then this console.log is going to log out the same parameter we take in. So now when we call this function, we actually need to pass something in. So I'm going to pass in my name here. And when I save, it actually prints out my name here. So it's taking it as an input here, and that's what we defined up here. And then inside of the function it's doing our console.log, and it's logging out the name variable that we took as a parameter here. And if you need more parameters or something, you can just add in a comma here and then take in as many as you want. And that's basically how we would do functions. Now before I end the video, there's one more thing I want to show you which I forgot to show you in previous lessons, which is how we interact with the HTML document that we link the script to. So to interact with, for example, the divs here or the buttons or whatever, in our app.js file or whatever you named your JavaScript file, we need to type the word document. And you can see here that there's 2 versions. One is with the capital D and one is with the lowercase d. So we want the one with the lowercase d. And this document, actually, it's like a reference to the HTML document. So to get an item from the HTML document, like let's say we wanted, let's take this article heading here. So I'm going to grab this thing with the class of article heading. So I'm going to say document.get. And here when I type the word get, you can see a few things popped up. One is get element by ID, which is the most common use of this. and then is get element by class name, and that's what we want right now. We're going to select an element based on its class name, and we're going to store this in something. So I'm going to shift this code over a bit, and here at the beginning I'm going to create a variable. So I'm just going to say let going to call this, what can we call it, titles equal to, and then I'm just going to neaten this up a bit. Okay, so we have a variable called titles here, and we set it equal to document.getElements by class name, and this is a function. So remember, we need to use the brackets here when we're calling a function, and now it wants us to actually give it the string of the class name that we're looking for. So our class name here is going to be article heading. I'm just going to copy that and paste it in here. And now when I save this, it's going to give an error here because I forgot to put the quotes here. It happens sometimes. Make sure you always include your quotes when you're working with strings. And on the next line here, I'm just going to console.log the titles just to see what it looks like. And you can see here that we've got an object or a collection with 3 things inside of it. And if we expand that out further, we can see the properties of these 3 things. And here in the inner text, we can see article heading here, which is the actual, like, the text we put inside of this tag. So let me get out of this here quickly, and I'm going to try and log out those article headings. So to do this, I'm going to use our square brackets just like we did when we worked with lists, and I'm going to say 0 here. So this should be the first element in our list or collection, and I'm going to say dot, and then let's go with inner HTML, and I'm going to save this, and we can see here that it says article heading here. So let's actually change this HTML here. So remember, because we're getting all of the elements that say article heading here, this is going to be the first one, so this is index 0, and then this one is going to be index 1, and this one is going to be index 2. So on the first one, which is what we're grabbing by getting element 0 here, I'm going to change what it says in here so that we can test whether it's grabbing the correct element or not. So I'm just going to write Theo here, and if I hit save, you can see that now it's grabbing the word Theo. So this is how we would interact with elements in our HTML from the JavaScript. And I know this lesson was supposed to just be about functions, but hey, getElement by class name is a function, so technically, you know, we did cover functions here. Anyways, in the next video, I'm going to be going over loops, and that will be the end of the basics. So yeah guys, I'll see you in the last lesson.